everyone. It is such a pleasure to welcome you all once again, this time to our second webinar in our attempt to reach out and guide parents, especially at these crucial times. For today's webinar, we have Ms. Aanchal Jain, who is the founder and CEO of Thought Project. She is based in Mumbai and is involved in devising creative engagements for children. She will speak on 5 secrets for bringing up happy children. She will also take us through a quick set of activities for children and parents to participate in together so that the joy of learning is shared by both children and parents. As you know, our school has always focused on the overall well being of our students and parents. At JPA Toddlers World School, it has been a constant endeavor to involve our students in creative and wholesome activities like meditation, gymnastics, art and craft, singing, and sports, amongst others. For the past 2 months, even during the lockdown, our teachers have painstakingly been working to create videos, audios, and work schedules to send home to children so that our students do not miss out on any aspect of schooling. We will continue to reach out and take care of all our students. It has been heartening to see our toddlers enjoying these virtual online activities, videos of which you parents have been sending to us from time to time. The staff and I have enjoyed watching all these videos and would love to receive more from you as our toddlers perform more and more activities at home. Please continue sharing these with us as it brings us such a sense of joy and satisfaction. I want to share with you that it is only due to the relentless effort of all the staff members of the school that the online content of yoga, dance, rhymes, storytelling, aerobics, music, etc., could be prepared and sent home for our students. We will now spend the next 45 minutes with Ms. Aanchal Jain as she makes us aware of the nuances of good parenting and also involves the children in activities which can be later taken up by you. Hope you enjoy the webinar. Over to Aanchal Jain.
Thank you, Mrs. Atre, for that lovely introduction and for this wonderful opportunity. It is absolutely heartwarming to see so many parents join us on a Sunday afternoon, that too, to explore better and happier futures for our children. Before we start, I'd just like to give you a small brief on Thought Project, the company that I run. Thought Project is an organization that works in the education sector, and we work towards cultivating life skills among children. We offer short-term and long-term training programs in public speaking using tools of drama, applied theatre, and communication. With operations in Mumbai and Delhi, we envision training and education to foster engagements that ultimately lead to better evolution of the self. Now, a very important principle in forming our work is that at the end, we want our participants to fully express themselves and to be the happiest versions of themselves. And we constantly work with parents to achieve this goal. So I'm so happy that all of you have joined in today, and I hope we can work through these activities involving the children as well and see how we can keep them best engaged in this time of lockdown. Today's webinar, we'll look at the mix of activities and how do we keep them happy? Now, there are 4 important factors that we believe are important to keep children happy. One is empathy. Now, when we say empathy, we mean that children being able to identify their feelings, others' feelings, and work with them. Secondly, self-reliance. Now, it's really important for children to be able to do their own tasks, to be able to perform daily activities in a manner that they don't require any support or reliance on their parents. And something tying to empathy is also emotional development. Now, we always look at academic development and extracurriculars activities, but it's really important to focus on our emotions and to ensure that kids are able to talk about their feelings, express their feelings, and thereby communicate their thoughts. But the most important factor in making children happy is the constant presence of parents. And by presence, I don't mean a passive presence ki aap sirf hai ghar pe, but a presence jo active hai, wherein you're constantly getting involved with the children, doing things with them and doing fun, creative things. And today we're going to exactly explore that. Before we get to that, I want to stress upon this one thing, is that communication in any parent child relationship, communication is key. We need to be able to communicate with our children and communicate actively. अब communication दो तरह का होता है. One is verbal communication, जहां पे हम बात करते हैं, the words we use. दूसरा is non-verbal, our facial expressions, body language, what is it that is telling the children. But it's important to remember कि communication is a two-way process. तो कई बार हम बोलते हैं कि kids are not talking, बच्चे हमें बताते नहीं है कि स्कूल में क्या किया, फ्रेंड्स के साथ क्या किया. But you have to understand that communication has to be two-way. So they will not start telling you about your day till you tell them what happened with you. How was your day? You've had a good experience, you've had a bad experience, office में कुछ हुआ हो, घर में कुछ हुआ हो. It's important कि you start sharing. The minute you start sharing, kids will start responding. वो उनके लिए normal हो जाएगा कि घर में बात करना is a normal activity. So today what we're going to do is we're going to explore 5 ways to communicate with children. All right. And the first one is music. Then we're going to look at art. After that, we're going to look at act, the element of acting. Then we'll move on to stories and ultimately end with reading. So without wasting much time, we're going to dive into music. हम हमेशा म्यूजिक को ऐसे समझते हैं कि इट्स अ पास टाइम एक्टिविटी, इट्स समथिंग यू डू व्हेन यू वेरी टायर्ड, रिलैक्स करने के लिए, कि आप कहीं पे जा रहे हैं, सो यू लिसन टू सम म्यूजिक. बट इट्स फॉर चिल्ड्रन, स्पेशली in the age group of 3 to 5, music is crucial to build focus, to improve body and mind coordination. But the most practical use of music is that कोई भी boring task हो जाए, music can make it extremely interesting. So let's take an example. कई बार हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि रूम साफ रखो, clear things after you are done, right? And वो कई बार होता नहीं है. Either they don't listen to you or they're just going to avoid it. So what we can do is actually introduce a song to them. आप वो चीज जो कह रहे हैं वो उनको गाकर बताइए. So there's something we call as active singing. In music, there's something called as active singing. तो वो हम थोड़ा try करेंगे. So all the kids who have joined us, I'd love if you could sing this with us. So the first song we're going to do is a song called Clean, Clean, Clean Your Room. So I'm going to sing it once and then you can join in with me. All right. So clean, clean, clean your room. Clean your room just Dad would do. Clean the floor and clean the bed and pick the toys up too. So we're going to try and do this once more. Kids, after every line, you can join in with me. Clean, clean, clean your room, just as Dad would do. Clear the floor and clean the bed and pick up the toys too. So we're going to try this one last time. Clean, clean, clean your room, just as Dad would do. Clear the floor and clean the bed and pick up the toys too. So now what happens is the minute you sing it, it becomes this element of fun for children and they start following you more. So you don't have to keep reminding them, but they start listening better and this element of self-reliance आ जाता है कि वो खुद का काम खुद करने लगते हैं. और एक और एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. कई बार हम देखते हैं कि बच्चे खाना खाने में बहुत समय लगाते हैं. They just take a very long time to eat and what ends up happening is then we either give them a mobile phone or a screen to look at कि at least वो खाना खा ले. So let's try to take kids offline and instead add a song to it. We'll look at one more way to get kids to eat faster later in the presentation, but let's start with a song. तो ये बहुत common children's song है. It's called If You're Happy and You Know It. तो हम वो tune लेंगे and we're going to sing it. So listen to me first and then the kids can join in. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. If there's food on your plate, then don't just leave it there. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. So now you're bringing in rhythm, you're bringing in a song, and in this way, every line पे आप उनको बोल सकते हैं to take a bite. So it becomes a game. It becomes a really interesting way for them to eat their food, और self-reliant भी बढ़ेगा. So we're going to try and sing this once more. Kids, you can repeat one line after me. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. If there's food on your plate, don't just leave it there. If there's food on your plate, eat it up. All right, fantastic. Thank you. Now, another element to introduce music is that music as a wallpaper. तो हमें म्यूजिक एक्टिव लिसनिंग की तरह नहीं चाहिए, जस्ट बैकड्रॉप में कांस्टेंट म्यूजिक का प्रेजेंस रखिए. उससे क्या होता है, द फोकस दैट अ चाइल्ड हैज इंक्रीजेस कंसिडरेबली. सो यू मे प्ले एनी म्यूजिक, यू वांट टू प्ले फोक म्यूजिक, हिंदी म्यूजिक, वेस्टर्न, क्लासिकल, जो भी म्यूजिक आप रेगुलरली सुनते हैं, बट जस्ट क्रिएट एन एनवायरमेंट ऑफ म्यूजिक बिकॉज दैट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प देम फोकस बेटर. It's going to lead to higher concentration and ensure that anything that they're doing becomes an enjoyable experience. और ये तो हमें पता ही है कि we learn songs के lyrics faster than textbook के material. So it also helps them boost vocabulary and develop their language skills. Now, after music, another element that we're going to explore is that of art. Abhi now art to we've seen kids do chart paper, craft paper, school mein activities hoti hai. I'm sure at Mrs. Atre also does incorporate a lot of art. But the reason why I want to talk about art here today is कि how creatively आप उसको use कर सकते हैं to boost communication घर पे. So we're going to try and look at a few tools that we can use. Now, for the first activity, what I'm going to ask all the kids around to do is that I'm going to give you 10 seconds. You have to go and get any piece of cloth. Parents, please help them out here. चाहे वो दुपट्टा हो, blanket हो, bed sheet हो, anything at all, just quickly get that and come in front of the screen. I'm going to count 10 to 10. All right, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Now what we're going to do is with this piece of cloth that we have, we're going to open it up, and parents, please help the kids here. And we're going to tie it around like a cape. Okay, so we're going to take this like this and just tie it around us like a cape. Okay, that's it. Now, okay, so let's take 5 seconds to do that. Now, each of us are going to imagine as though we are a super person. ठीक है, हम हमारा नाम सोचेंगे, what are we going to call ourselves and give ourselves a super power. ऐसा power जो किसी और के पास नहीं है. So for example, if I had to be a super person, my name would be Jagaru, and मेरा superpower होता कि when I look at a book, I can finish reading it in 1 second. So I'm a super reader. All right, so kids, let's have you imagine what is going to be your super name and your superpower, and why don't you tell your parents what is it going to be. So let's take 5 seconds to do that. Now, the reason why I'm asking you to do this is to remember that creativity के लिए fancy equipments नहीं चाहिए. We don't have to go to the store and buy expensive things. Use things that are around there. Use a cap, scarves, some other kind of jacket, some shoes you have to create these characters and ask kids to use them to create a costume. आप कोई भी costume बना दो and get them to explain that costume to you कि आप क्या बने हो, ठीक है, आपका नाम क्या है, आप what do you do, where do you stay. right? So questions like these will help kids think, उनकी imagination expand होगी, and this will not take a lot of time. जब आप maybe when you're at home putting away laundry, आप कपड़े अंदर रख रहे हैं, just use that time to help them play around with props and costumes. Now, another thing that we work actively and we've seen having very good impact is that of puppets. Now, puppets is जब हम हाथ में कुछ prop रखते हैं, we sort of give it a voice, उसको एक नाम देंगे, and we talk as though we are them. So I've got a few that we use. It's very simple. आप कोई भी character ले लीजिए, newspaper या book से, cut it out and put a stick behind it. You can put an ice cream stick. I've put a normal stick. You can put any kind of character. I've taken two here. These are popular cartoon characters. I've just cut them and put them on sticks. Now, what can happen is you can talk like the character. तो समझो कोई बात है जो बच्चे नहीं सुन रहे हैं, or is there if there's something new that you want to tell them, you can always tell it through the puppets. So let's say this is Mr. Scientist who's going to come around to your room to check whether you've cleaned it or not. So he's going to come and check whether you've put all your toys away, all your clothes away. So Mr. Scientist is coming now. So you can give it a voice, give it a character, play around with them. And you can actually create multiple puppets like this. Now, the only thing, you not just getting them to do instructions, but आप इनके साथ interesting stories भी बना सकते हैं. So let's say all the kids who are joining us, let's try and work this with you. So like we did with the previous round, let's try and give this one a name. What name are we going to give her? So let's say we'll call her Princess Bean, and we'll call him, say, Rajesh, right? So now what we can do is you can actually create an interesting story out of Princess Bean and Rajesh. Maybe they met in the forest and they're going on some battle, and Princess Bean has used her sword to win the war, and Rajesh was so scared, so Princess Bean came and helped Rajesh. So क्या होता है, जब when you externalize the story, आप जब ऐसे props use करते हैं, the impact and imagination increases tremendously. And then in tasks जो otherwise उनको boring लगते हो, or things that they are not interested in, and which is why they go to screens, वो सब आप offset कर सकते हो by using puppets. And it's a lot of times for children also, kai baar aap, if you give them a puppet, say, okay, you know, what would Princess Bean talk about? It's easier for them to talk as puppets. So kai baar it's very difficult to talk about your feelings. You may not want to do that. But as a puppet, it's easier, saying Princess Bean is very sad because she didn't get to play with her friends today. So it's easier to talk like Princess Bean than to talk as myself. So I would highly encourage you to try out. Every time you see a character coming up in a magazine or a book, cut it out, keep it, create a puppet, put an ice cream stick or any kind of stick behind, and you have a puppet ready. So I would highly, highly encourage you to use that. Now, as we saw right now, we were talking about stories, and it's really important to remember that everything in our lives is a story. चाहे वो कुछ incident हो, something that we've experienced, and we went to the market, something happened there. We went to office, something happened there. It is all a story. Each of these are stories that we are ultimately telling children, and we want them to tell us. So it's important to remember that kuch bhi boring task ho, transform it into a story. Coming back to what we discussed about eating food. Lot of times I've heard countless parents complain that they don't eat food. बहुत time लगाते हैं. They get bored very easily. So to keep them interested in that task and prevent them from going to a screen, what you need to use are stories. So let's try and understand, Peli, why do children go to screens? Why are they so fascinated with watching videos on YouTube or watching some cartoon? Is because of this element of story. क्योंकि वहां पे बहुत सारे characters है, there's a lot of action, a lot of dynamism that is going on. Kids get really excited by that. But what if you take that out from the screen and present it to them live? So use a story जो आपने बचपन में सुनी हो, some folk tale that you've heard. You can make your own story even. But try and constantly tell them stories. When you tell them story, it helps them with language development. जो task है, they can focus on it, and it builds this sense of happiness overall, where you're engaging with kids and they're expressing and they're listening and they're looking at you play around with these words, and it creates this very happy and positive environment for the children. So I'd highly encourage you to work with stories for children. But when you're telling stories up, you can't make a plain face and say once upon a time there was a tortoise and a hare and they wanted to race and the hare slept off. अगर आप plain face से story बताएंगे तो वो नहीं सुनेंगे. The reason why screens are so exciting for kids is because the characters are expressive, they're doing different voices. Now I know that's very hard, but we need to bring in some elements of acting to our tasks. Now अब जब बच्चों को कभी भी कुछ भी पूछेंगे, they're very animated, they'll try different voices, वो बहुत सारे facial expressions use करेंगे, बहुत drama करेंगे. In Hindi we call it nautanki. But it's exactly that kind of nautanki that's going to keep them engaged in the story that you're going to tell. And which is why I always believe that anything that we do needs to be strongly enacted. We need to act it out and then tell them that story. So let's take a story. For instance, all right, we're going to take this story about a dog who kept forgetting things. He was in charge of dropping animals back home. He was like the caretaker of all the animals, and despite that he kept forgetting कि किसका घर किधर था. So one fine day he was going home, and on his way he spotted a pig. Now that pig was very tired, very upset, and the dog went say कि अच्छा, what happened to you? And he's like, oh, I'm so sad, I want to go home, but I don't know where my house is. But hey, you're supposed to drop me home, right? Do you know where's my house? Now the dog had been told where the pig's house is, but he forgot. He didn't know where he stayed. So they both started thinking. But do you know where a pig stays? Do you know where a pig stays? That's right. A pig stays in a sty. S-T-Y, sty. Just like a dog lives in a kennel, the pig lives in the sty. So try to bring in more facial expressions. You can use as many gestures as possible to ensure that they are solely focused on you and the story that you're telling, and then the desire to go to screens is completely eliminated. Now, coming to stories, right? What we can do with stories, important elements to remember with stories is the fact that we have to ensure that these stories are something that keep engaging them. So don't just tell them stories, break the story into parts and keep asking them questions. So let's take the example of the hare and the tortoise. All right, we'll come back to that story. So I'm going to try demonstrate the story and tell you how you can break it into parts and keep asking the children questions. अब क्या होगा when you keep asking them questions? Number one, it ensures that they are paying attention. तो अगर कोई point पे attention waiver हो गया, they'll come back right at you. So that's number one. Another thing is that they're going to constantly keep thinking. वो सोचते रहेंगे कि अच्छा, what was this that I had to tell? What is it that I had to tell next? So we're going to try and use some of these. So once upon a time, in a big forest, there lived various different animals. Several animals. Can you name some animals for me? So at this point, we'll ask the children to name animals. So all the children joining us, try and name at least 5 animals that you can. Any 5 animals that you know. Lion, tiger, snake, bear, gorilla, hippopotamus, snake, so many different animals, right? Now, among those 2 animals, among all those animals, there were 2 animals. One was a tortoise and the other was a hare. Now, at this point, you could also introduce puppets. We don't have a hare and tortoise puppet, but you could probably have them ready here with you to show them there was a hare and there was a tortoise. Now, the hare was a really fast animal. He loved running. He would run long distances and he was really fast, and he'd won several sports competition, right? Just like you have it at your school, running races. Now, this tortoise one day was going somewhere, and the hare said, you know, tortoise, you walk so slow, I can run so fast. So the tortoise said, okay, then why don't we do a race, right? I'm challenging you. Let's run and see who comes first. Now, the hare was very confident, okay? He was very sure that he can run fast. So he said, okay. So they reached the finish line And the hare started running fast, as fast as he could. So at this point, ask the children, show me how are you going to run fast? Show me how fast can you run? Let me see you put all your speed, and get them to run, get them to actually run from one end of the room to the other and then come back. Now, while the hare was running so fast, the tortoise, on the other hand, was very slow. He took one small step at a time. Can you show me how the tortoise was running? So ask the children to demonstrate how the tortoise was running, and have them move from one end of the room to the other. Then bring them back. Now, the hare turned back and saw that the tortoise was far, far behind. So he thought that, it's okay if I nap for a bit. I'm anyway so tired. So I'll just nap for a bit, and then I'll wake up and reach the finish line anyway. The tortoise is so slow. So the hare went off to sleep. And you ask the children again to demonstrate. How do you think? Show me how the hare went off to sleep. So get them to demonstrate the sleeping. And then the tortoise kept moving, slow and steady. He kept moving, and he reached the tree under which the hare was sleeping. The tortoise looked at the hare and laughed, but he laughed silently. So show me how you're going to laugh silently. Show me how do you laugh without making any noise. And they're going to go like, and get them to laugh. And the tortoise kept moving, and ultimately reached the finishing line while the hare was fast asleep. Now, not only have the children gotten through the story, but they've actually enacted it, stayed with you through the entire course of the story. And this is a great way to introduce elements, bring body awareness to children, introduce them to newer vocabulary, and also help with sentence construction. So with one story, you can achieve 3 goals. So I would highly recommend you to use simple stories, basic stories that you may be available in books for them, or you may have heard as kids, and really try and work with actions and gestures and bring in body to ensure that there's holistic development for children through stories. Now, this is also an age where we need to ensure that students are starting with something called guided reading, where I strongly believe that readers are made next to their parents when parents are reading the books to them. So what I would recommend is, even though they may not be able to read at this point, what you do is you open a book and point to each word as you're reading out. What happens is we remember words as pictures. So let's say I have the word cool, COOL. Now, when I look at the word cool, I don't know the spelling yet. I will not remember the spelling, but I will remember the image of it. I said, okay, this half a circle, then 2 circles, and then this straight and sleeping line is called cool. And the next time I look at that word, that picture is going to come back to me. And that's how we learn how to read. That's exactly how we read. So even 3-year-old kids can actually start identifying words by just pointing out as you're reading the book. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell you how you can work with just one book to make storytelling fun and reading fun for children. Now, as I said, a great way to introduce reading and to build interest for reading is to use questions and riddles. So break the story up. Keep asking them for questions. Okay, what do you think happened next? Okay, what is this called? How do you enact that? Keep asking them these questions so that the story is not just a reading experience, but it's a great opportunity for you to converse with the child, to understand their thoughts. So I'd highly, highly recommend this. But what do you do after a book is done reading? What do you do? Are you done with the book? Do you put it away in a cupboard? Absolutely not. Once you're done reading with the book, there's so many post-reading activities that you can do with them. So for instance, let's say you finished reading, say, the Hare and the Tortoise story, right? You get them, you show them how the word hare looks, how the word tortoise looks. And in the entire book, ask them to point out the word. So this way they've memorized the spellings for hare and the tortoise. Close the book. Ask them to recall as many words as they can from the book verbally. Hare, tortoise, race, tree, sleeping, fast, slow. They'll come up with a whole bunch of words that they remember. After you're done recalling vocabulary, ask them to to show them an image from the book. So anyone's, maybe let's say it's an image of the hare sleeping under the tree. Ask them to look at that book picture and point out to as many things as they can name. So tree, leaves, trunk, wood, hair, sleep. There may be a mountain at the back, anything at all. And words that they don't know, you can help them out with those words. So try and do that. And the last thing what you do, which is the best way to ensure that they've actually understood and remember the story, is ask them to tell the story on their own. And you bring in all our previous elements, add a puppet to it, add a costume to it, put them in front of the closet, in front of the cupboard, and ask them, pick whatever you think will help you look like the tortoise, pick whatever you think will help you look like the hare, and then you work with that, and then you get them to tell that story, and you create an audience. It's very important to remember that children love being heard. They want to be heard. So give them that time, create an audience, everybody in the family coming and sitting and looking at them perform and giving them good constructive feedback. Yes, that was a good story. Yes, I loved how loud you were. But can we be more facially expressive? Can we be a little louder? Right? Give them constructive feedback so that they're actually remembering that, yes, this is what my parents have told me the story, and they've actually listened to me telling this entire story. So would highly recommend is that one book can actually have so many things that you can do with it. So would really recommend that. Now, a very important thing to remember when we're conversing with children, when we're talking to them, is this idea of articulation. Now, children love talking. It's a known fact that they love talking. But when they're speaking, are they articulate enough? By which I mean, are they clear enough? Is every word, every letter that they're saying has clarity, can be heard with distinction? So I would suggest that you try out some exercises with them that helps them work on their jaws. So we have a guide for parents called Vocal Workouts that recommends some physical exercises, 1 minute exercises that you can do to ensure that every word, so if you're saying banana, so your b, n, a are heard clearly, and at no point do I think you're saying patata or ganana. It shouldn't be confusing for the listener at all. So please reach out to us for that guide. I'd be more than happy to share it with you. And a great way to focus on articulation is correct breathing. Now, what happens is often while speaking, children get very overwhelmed. Their mind is bursting with thoughts. They have so many ideas pouring out, so many thoughts coming out, that they can get overwhelmed and they forget to breathe correctly. So regular breathing exercise will help them focus on what they're want to say, help them organize their thoughts. So would really recommend some sort of breathing exercise, even if it's for a minute, deep breath. But it's important that you do it together. Not just tell them that, okay, do it, breathe, do your breathing exercise, do this, do that. No, make it a family exercise. Ensure that everybody's doing it together. Maybe after you wake up, before you go to bed, do a 5 minute breathing exercise so that it becomes a routine, it becomes a practice. And ultimately, of course, that's going to help you build focus. Now, as we come to a close, I just want to touch upon these concepts of financial and cultural wealth, post which we will be taking questions. Is that all through our lives, parents work on cultivating financial wealth for children, wherein we want to ensure that anything that they require financially is met. School fee, college fee, any other needs are taken care of. However, what we often don't focus upon is the cultural wealth. In terms, now what cultural wealth constitutes is the books we're reading, the kind of conversations you have with children, the kind of literature that you're exposing, the music that you listen to, the movies that you're watching. And I'd highly urge you to focus on this aspect of cultural wealth as well, which brings back to our first point of happy kids. Happy kids are kids who are spending time with their parents, doing things, not just, I mean, in this time of lockdown, of course, we're all home and we're with family. So in an overall sense, yes, we're with our family spending time. But are we doing things with them? Are we communicating? Are we conversing? And the tools to converse is by doing things with them. So again, I would really stress that we don't need fancy, expensive things to converse with children. Look around your house. How can you use the stimuli around and use the same material in different creative ways? Because I strongly believe that it's their home environment that provides the most learning for children. So keep that in mind and keep working towards that. All the resources that I discussed today, I'd be more than happy to share it out with you. Of course, on this platform we can. So please do reach out to us either by mail or phone number. I've put those both up on the slide here. We're also constantly posting more such activities and workshops for children that we do at our project. And in the current lockdown environment, we're doing all of these online. So please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We constantly keep updating those channels with workshops that are coming up. Thank you so much for joining, parents. Thank you, Mrs. Atri, for organizing this. And before we close, of course, we're going to take a look at the questions that have come in. So parents, I'd urge you to please ask questions. Any question, however small, big, any doubt, any query you have, please go ahead and ask that. I'm just going to take a few. Right now, there's a question that goes that art may get really messy and restless for them. What can we do about that? So I agree, even with creating puppets, there's what we can do is, for example, a sock, right? So for puppets, if what we do sometimes in our puppetry workshops is that we start with a sock. So what you do is take an old sock that's lying at home and try and, of course, create as much open space, cover it with paper and let them explore. And it's important to urge this idea that it's okay to mess up. Nothing has to be perfect. We keep stressing upon art being perfect, and that limits expression. So what I would suggest is that you keep telling them that it's okay to mess up, it's okay to make mistakes, and you do the activity with them. So if it's a sock that you're creating, right, you want to create a puppet out of this, say you want to put a tongue here, you want to take a marker, make two eyes over here, do that, but do it with them and keep flagging your own mistakes. Tell them, oh yeah, I messed up, I made a mistake, so that mistakes are normalized with them, and that'll help them also get more patient with art. So I'd highly recommend that. There's another question that says, how can we add words to the child's dictionary? Yes, now this is a really interesting question, because I have had a lot of parents who've told me that we've tell them that every day you must learn 5 words from the dictionary. You must remember them, write it, make sentences from that. Now I completely get that. That's a very productive exercise to engage with. But let me also stress on the fact that uh, using newer words, improving our vocabulary comes when we apply those words, when we see how new words are put into sentences, what are the different meanings that can be made out of that. That will come through conversation, communication, when you hear those words, and number 2, through reading. So when I'm reading a book and I see a particular word used in a line, I don't understand it, I look up the meaning in the dictionary, come back, read it again, that word gets internalized. So certainly go ahead, memorize words from the dictionary, but supplement it with reading of books. Constant reading of books is an absolute must that I would recommend. I hope that addresses your question. Another question is how to motivate child for exercise even if they see parents exercising every day. Now, this is tricky. I think motivating children for exercise can be really tricky. But a way that we've discovered in class, so when we do theater, we have a lot of physical warm-ups that we engage in, very intensive, very required stretching, building body awareness. So what you could do is maybe incorporate it in some form of a game. Devise a game around it. So maybe when the entire family is participating, impose a time limit. So let's say if you're doing something like a jumping jacks, so maybe give a minute and let's see who can do 10 jumping jacks in a minute. Or try to devise a game, so maybe a game of football or a game of cricket or a game of hopscotch that may get them physically active and also meet this purpose of enjoyment, because children want to have fun and exercise can be really boring. So try to supplement it with music, introduce a game of a sports game, or tell them a story through the sport. So at once upon a time, there was this young boy who was very lazy, but he had a friend, a very good friend, and every day she would do 10 jumping jacks, okay, and then ask them to do, show me how would you do 10 jumping jacks, and get them to do the jumping jacks, and then follow it up with the story. So that way they're doing it and having fun as well. There's a question that says, what are other ways to make storytelling fun? Okay, this is really interesting. So, different ways of making storytelling fun, like apart from the ones that we've already flagged, like costumes, props, puppets. What I would say is to use maybe everyday scenarios. So even when you're going out, you're going on a road trip, when you see things happening around, maybe play some games with them that asks them to make short stories, right? Like one word stories, one line stories. So in one line, describe what's happening there. Or what you could do is also work with characters. So children love characters, different kinds of characters. So if you see something, say if you found this in a newspaper, try and get them to work with this. Say, ask them to describe in one line what the story would be with this. So I would suggest work with these aspects, and most importantly, storytelling will be fun with how elaborate your actions are, how you're expressing well, using your own body to express. That's going to make storytelling very, very fun for children. I hope that answers your question. We're going to take another question. How to make child expressive? Yes, this is a very common concern, because we, in our work in theater, parents come in saying, she talks very well, but it's not impactful, it's not very expressive. Now, here it's important to remember is that children constantly imitate their parents. They do what their parents are doing. So if you see parents being monotone, having a straight face, children sort of grow up to replicate that. So what I would suggest is that first you start being a little more expressive. Try and use elaborate facial expressions when you're talking, even if it's a basic story. Let's say you, in the time of lockdown, you went down to the market to get something, and there was a long queue at the store, right? So let's say this simple sentence. So I went to the market, there was a long queue at the store. You can say it with such a straight face, or you can really animate it. I went to the market, I really needed an ice cream, so I decided to go to the store and get an ice cream. But when I reached there, there was this long queue. I had to wait an hour before I got the ice cream. Now, the minute you add in a little element of drama here, children sort of pick up big eyes, raised eyebrows, stretching on words. Children pick up on that, and then they bring that up in their everyday communication. So, would highly recommend you to start with that. Another great source can also be, when you're watching movies, maybe do a follow-up discussion on that, oh, I loved how this character was expressing. Try different voices with them also when you're talking. So with puppets or characters, try introducing different voices with them, and I really feel that will help build up on their expressions. We're going to take another question now. Okay, how to encourage the child to make them do what we want to do. Yeah, so this becomes again a very tricky situation where children may not, if they don't see the merit in something, or they find something very boring, they may not want to do it. So like I said, using creative ways then would be a really good way to get them to do. So instead of you then telling them, maybe use a puppet, maybe use a character that's telling them, or devise a game around them. So I remember this is something we do in classes whenever we're working with puppets. We do something called a 3-minute cleanup. So we sing a song while cleaning up, plus devise a time limit around it, that let's see how quickly can we clean this up. Let me see who is the first one to clean up their artwork and put it back in their bag, and do a countdown. I'm going to count down to 10. So introducing elements of excitement is extremely important to encourage them to do it. By constantly telling them ki do this, do this, do this, is not going to be very productive. But when you devise a game around it, when you devise some element of excitement, it propels them to do it. So I would just play around with that a little, I would suggest. There's another question that says, sometimes children become very cranky. How to calm them? So here it's important to remember that being cranky, meaning something is bothering them, something is upsetting them, and it's important to acknowledge that feeling. Often what happens is, when children are complaining about something or crying, we tend to say, we tend to overlook that or feel that it will pass with time. But it's important to tell the child that, yes, I see that you're upset. I can understand that this is what is making you upset, or something is not going right. I completely understand that. How do we make it better? Make them a part of the solution. If you feel that they're getting restless, ask them, involve them in that conversation, that what can we do to make this better for you. And of course, because you've spent so much time with them, maybe you know some things that work with them, some kind of music that helps them express that energy. Because in this current environment of lockdown, children can also get, they have all this unspent energy, they have बहुत energy होता है, so they're not getting out, not getting any chance to play outside, schools band hai, so that energy build up can also be very very unsettling for them. So I would recommend ki you work with that and make them a part of the conversation. There's another question that says, please advise as to how to tell our 3-year-old boy to study, as he does not like to say it out, ABC 1 2 3 etc. He does not want to indulge in this part of activity. We have tried many expressive manners, but all went in vain. Okay, all right. Hmm. Interesting. So if some of the existing ways are not working out, what you could probably explore is that, do they already know it? So sometimes one thing with children also is that sometimes ke like, ha, I know ABC, I'm not going to say it again. One can be that. But if that is not the case, what you could maybe explore is giving them some kind of break and getting to it after a few days. So try to add like a background music to it. Sometimes just having a background music makes it a very fun exercise for them. So try to not actively make it a creative exercise, since it's not been working for you, but to change something in the background. So keep working on that, and I certainly feel that will help you address that. There's a question that says, my daughter is very scared, unable to indulge in every new activity. Right. So this has been a concern where children are lacking in confidence. They're not very comfortable performing in front of people, or not very spontaneous. So in that case, a sport activity most certainly helps them work with groups. So it's very challenging for children to work with groups. It can be scary. They may not want to do that. So number one is get her to play some kind of sport, so it helps her work with groups better. Another thing is to constantly give positive affirmations, to give them a lot of praises. तो कई बार क्या होता है कि जब they're doing something, we're not praising them enough, so they're not sure whether they've done a good job. They may think that, okay, I'm not really good at this, so I'm not going to keep trying it. So it's very important कि वो हम validation दे kids को कि okay, this was very well done, I really liked how you did that, I enjoyed your performance a lot. So would encourage you to give those positive affirmations, and you will see her taking more part in activities. There's another question, how to increase their sitting time for writing skills like joining dots. Yeah, so inability to sit for long times comes from, again, this idea of too much energy also. Because lockdown hai, energy is not getting spent. So what you could do is maybe look for activities that tire them out a little, that are a little physically exhausting for them. So एक बार वो थोड़े थक जाएंगे, they will not have this energy to keep running around a lot. So play a sport game with them, have them do some jumping jacks, try that. Number two is to use some calm, soothing background score. So use a classical instrumental music, some guitar, violin music, which is there in the background. If that also doesn't work, you can use some motor skills activities. So some very basic things that we do in our sessions is give them a needle and a thread and have them sew some pearls or some stones through it to make like a necklace thing, or mix a few grains and pulses and ask them to separate it. So that kind of concentration that is going to require will help them get comfortable with sitting for longer times. So would highly recommend that. Another question is how to make kids understand that winning is not only thing that matters in game life, but we should also accept failure and learn for it. Yes, this is an extremely important, being comfortable with failure and normalizing it कि हाँ होता है failure and that's completely okay. I think the most important thing here is that we remember to demonstrate that to them. to talk about your own failures that you may have experienced. So kai baar we try for things, they don't turn out the way we've planned. So at that point it's important to tell them that, kyunki hum as kids, they imagine that my parents are perfect, they can never make a mistake, or they've never made a mistake, and if I make a mistake they'll be really upset with that. So number one is to talk about your own failures when they occur, so that they think ki ha theek hai, it's normal, everybody makes mistakes. And when there is a failure that comes in or some difficulty that they encounter, it's important to keep reminding them. Ye ek baat hota hai repeating. You have to keep repeating it so that they can remember that and bear that in mind. There's another question that says, hmm, how to make child listen in one voice means make them attentive when someone is calling. So this is a classic case of boosting listening skills. So when you want to work on listening skills, it's to work with stimuli that gets them to listen. So some of the things that we do is to just stand near the window, tap into sounds that you're listening, make a list of all the sounds that you're hearing. Another thing what we do is called transcription. So what we do is we play an audio. तो आप कोई भी गाना play कर दो, you may play the something on TV and don't let them see it, and just get them to recall क्या सुना. So even if it is a song, tell them to recall as many words as they can from that particular audio clip. So that's going to boost their listening skills, and then when someone's calling out or they're in school also, when they have to listen and follow instructions, it'll be much better. Often child is very active at home, but when in gatherings they don't respond. Why it happens? Now I cannot tell you how often I've got this question. कई बार पेरेंट्स आते हैं कि घर पे ठीक है बट बाहर बात नहीं करते किसी से, कभी भी बोलते कि अंकल आंटी से बात करो, नहीं करेंगे. Now this is very common, let me tell you, it's not a unique case. What happens often is that children are just growing up. It's okay if they don't want to talk in public events. Kai baar they don't feel like it. Kai baar they want to do other things. So I would please urge all parents to not stress upon that. कि अगर नहीं कर रहे बात, it's okay. The minute they start playing more with friends, doing more group works, performing in school, वो automatically उनका communication बढ़ जाएगा. But to keep in mind कि communication घर पे continuous रहे. You continuously have a relationship with your child where you keep talking to them. So that is something I would say cannot be replaced. Communication at home has to continue. Yeah. Another question is, my child is 1.6 months. The lockdown has kept him indoors and socially distant. Will this affect his ability of social interaction? Now that is a very valid concern, क्योंकि बहुत सा ये lockdown काफी लंबे समय तक चला है, and I can see it going on for a much longer time. Now the only way to address this is to ensure that there is communication at home. There is performances and communications at home that are constantly going on. So what I would recommend for this concern is that you have the child talk to different members of the family at different points in the day. B, try and involve him in as many plays as you can. So what you could do is just, do a very dramatized storytelling version for him, wherein you're using some props, using some costumes. Keep doing that with him, and the reading aspect. So what happens is that at no point their vocabulary or their thought process is limited, and when it does come to it, may take some time to adjust. It most definitely will, because suddenly from say 5 people at home, you may move to 10, 15 people in a classroom. So that may be a little offsetting, but I don't think at such a young age it's going to have that strong an impact, because at this age they're very quick to adapt. So it may take some adjusting period, but make sure that at home you're doing everything you can to ensure that vocabulary and communication is in place. So when it comes the time to apply, they'll be comfortable doing so. There's another question that says, if I share about my failure, tell them it's okay to fail, am I not giving the kids a reason to already try less harder? Like they would not try and compete as they feel it's all right to fail as everyone faces it. So this is like a catch 22. I completely get this concern कि अगर हम बता दें कि हाँ ठीक है, it's okay to fail, then they may not try. But I feel it's really important to tell them it's okay to fail for their mental health. If we don't tell them that, the pressure to be perfect and succeed all the time can lead to situation where it gets too much, can lead to a burnout, and then they may not try at all. So while telling them that it's okay to fail, it's also important to show them that we must work hard, and hard work can lead to very good results in a way ki you can be your best version. So I think it's important to stress upon that, that is that you need to be your best version and be happy at the same time. And in that process, if you're failing, it's not the end of life. There are lots more opportunities that will keep coming, but we can make the most only if there's hard work. So I think this balance between failure and hard work is very, very necessary to establish. um do we have time to take one more question? Nina, Mrs. Atri, do we have another question that we can go? We'll take this last one. If the kid doesn't show interest in study sometimes, how to handle it? And there's another question that says, my child doesn't study. She can't sit calmly for 10 minutes. She's 2.9 years old. Okay, all right. So 2.9 is also a very, like I said, if they can't study or if they can't sit at one place, maybe the activity is not interesting enough, because as a child, their mind is very active. It's working on various levels and they can get distracted very easily by the smallest of things. So you need to ensure that how you can keep them involved in that moment, in that activity, by providing them as many opportunities for excitement as possible. So would just suggest you to, if they're not getting interested in study, to look at a different way. Introduce song, introduce some kind of music, put a game to it, make it a game saying, okay, we're going to take 1 minute to finish this. What you could also do is do a 10-minute study thing, a 5-minute break. Give them regular breaks where they can do their thing, so that they're not looking at study as this something jo restrict kar raha hai unko. They can keep coming back to it and have fun through it. Yeah. But as we take the last question, parents, I'd also like to urge and remind everyone कि parenting is very hard, and कई बार it gets very overwhelming. बहुत सारे resources होते हैं, बहुत सारे tips होते हैं, बहुत सारे guidance is being given, and it's okay to not be able to do everything. What I would just recommend is to give that time. I've worked with over 2,000 children, and I've seen the difference between children who have spent time with their parents doing things and those who haven't. And I can see that it creates a huge gap. So just take time to spend and do things with children, do these activities with them, and please reach out to us for resources. We're at thoughtproject.in on Facebook and Instagram, and I've put our email ID. It's info@thoughtproject.in. You can also reach out to us via WhatsApp. We'd be happy to share these resources with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, parents. This was a really lovely session, and I know the facilities that Mrs. Atri is providing at the school, and I can really see how it's creating this extremely positive learning environment for everybody. So I hope you're able to harness that, as well as the tools that we've discussed today, to ensure that we have happy kids, bright kids, and most importantly, expressive kids who are projecting and expressing every thought that they have. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone.